Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and today we are talking about moving around and why we have to start moving around once we reach certain levels in our ascension process. And I'm going to use the word levels there. I don't love the word, but we're going to use it just to get a sense of when we reach certain spaces, when we reach certain places, we have to start moving our body to different places. We can't really create new realities if we keep our body anchored in the same place. Normally, that place is not going to have the vibration to support your new vibration because it supported your old vibration. Now, you might start noticing signs of this. You might start noticing that you start spending more time on the upper levels of the home, if it has upper levels, because the higher we go up, it's a higher vibration. Just like when we set up higher in a vehicle, it's a higher vibration. So I noticed in the last house I had, I was kind of always on the second floor. This house has a higher vibration, and I spend really more time now on the second floor. I sleep on the third floor, so I'm in the highest vibration when I'm sleeping, but I don't hang out really on that floor. I notice when my nephews come over, niece and nephew come over, they hang out on the third floor quite a bit because of the vibration. But I don't hang out too much on that floor. But I'm really never downstairs on the bottom floor, and there are going to be certain places in the home you're going to start to put your body. Right? So just start to be conscious of that. Start to be conscious of where you are placing yourself more. Noticing if you start going higher up in the home. If you want a vehicle that sets you higher up because you're trying to support the body. And your universe is always going to make sure you can support your body's vibration. It is the number one priority your universe is going to have for you. Your higher aspects are going to have for you. There's no compromise on that. So if you don't want to physically leave on your own, you're going to find you're kind of going to get dragged out of different places because it's not going to support you. In the beginning, we got dragged out because we didn't have the consciousness to read what was going on. We didn't understand what was going on. But we will find we have to start moving around. I'm going to say it again. We're not going to be able to create our new realities if we expect them to look like our old realities. And for the most part, that means we're going to outgrow where we live. If we live around a lot of people, we're going to have to get out to where there's not as many people around. It starts to interfere with your field. The bigger your field gets, the more other people in the field are going to start to bother you. It's going to start to hamper what you're doing. People, all of a sudden the neighbors might start to be louder, because now your senses are going to get so heightened you can kind of hear everything. Every little thing going on, it's going to start to distort your energy. All of a sudden the car you used to have, you notice now it feels off. Your vibration might start extending out into the driveway where the car is, and now all of a sudden my field, something's distorted in my field. So you're going to find yourself wanting to start shifting and changing things out. Now our human doesn't like that. Our human doesn't like when we have to start moving around, when we start getting to certain spaces where I can't stay here anymore. I've outgrown it. You might notice things about the home start breaking, Now we can redecorate for a while. New paint, remove some stuff out. Removing clutter always helps. It raises the vibration, keeping it a lot cleaner, because we can start to feel the dust. It starts to interfere with our field. We can get rid of a lot of stuff, so we cut down the clutter. We don't have the clutter around because we can't work in the clutter. We can kind of feel all of it. We start paring down a lot. You're not going to be as sentimental as you used to be because those are old human realities. They almost feel like somebody else's. You probably find yourself tossing a lot of stuff. You really have no... I can't even think of what the word is. Shit, totally left my mind. That's probably why I don't really feel that way anymore. And I can't think of what it's sentimental. There it is. You don't have any sentimental value to anything anymore because you understand all the distortions of all the human stuff. So a lot of it just gets thrown away. You can throw away pictures. None of it matters. None of it matters to you anymore. And when I say none of it matters, it feels kind of detached and cold. And it's not so much that none of it matters. You don't need the remembrance because it's all in your field. If you ever need to remember it, you can remember it. It's all going to be there somewhere. We just don't have the attachment to it. We don't have the attachment to it. So you're going to find your body might start wanting to place itself in different places. Some day you're going to want to go out in the sun. Some days you're not going to want to be out in the sun. Your body can't take the sunlight. Other days you need to charge in the sun. As your body becomes less carbon-based and more of a light body, people call it the rainbow body, people call it the light body, people call it the soul body. You Google all those terms, you'll find tons of information on the light body, the rainbow body, the soul body. Everyone kind of calls it a little bit different. I never bring too much information through on the light body or the soul body as far as the physical, what your physical body is doing. I mean, I will do some DNA stuff occasionally, but a lot of people go through a lot of breakdowns of every little change to the body that can happen. So you can kind of Google that. There's tons of stuff out there on that. Tons of stuff out there on the light body. But for me, I just notice when I'm in different phases that my body has to go to a different place. And if you've been in the same place for a long time and you are in a certain stage of your ascension process, you're probably going to start to feel at some point, my body can't sit here anymore. This was the old me, and now I'm going to have to move somewhere else. I'm going to have to shift. And just be aware of where you're resisting that shift. You know, if all of a sudden I always like to work, you know, downstairs at a desk, and now I really can't sit upright. We have a hard time after a while setting up erect, because when you're setting up straight, you're more in a linear mind and you can't really set up straight anymore. I used to set up straight and do work. Now I have to kind of do it on a couch where I can kind of my back's kind of not as erect anymore, because I really struggle with trying to do that stuff straight up. So your spine's going to, you know, goes through a lot. But just look at where you're placing your body and understand that there's a reason why. We also have contracts with everywhere we have to live. And when your contract's up, your contract's up. It's time to go somewhere else. So be aware, you know, when all of a sudden it just feels like it's time for a shift. Things are breaking down. You know, I'm not enjoying the home anymore. All of a sudden I got a neighbor that's annoying me. Maybe they never used to, but now they're so different. You know, they're so different to your frequency. Now it's bothering you. Maybe all of a sudden I have this new job and it's so far of a commute. I really can't stay here anymore. The universe will position you. And if you start resisting it and resist it for a long time, it's going to have something more human traumatic happen to get your attention that you might have to move. You might have something bigger happen to the home. You might all of a sudden not have the money to pay for the home anymore. And it's kind of going to be all those signs that are kind of going to say, okay, hey, it's time for me to go. It's time for me to move on. I can't stay here anymore. My body needs to go set somewhere else. It doesn't mean it has to be a new home. A lot of people think the vibration has to do with the newness. It's not about the newness. It's about how it feels to you, the vibration of it. And that's depicted by the consciousness of the thing, in a sense. So I can't really explain it any kind of better than that. You'll know it when you feel it, you know it when you're there and you're really into this space. And you might look at a lot of different spaces, and everyone you go and you're like, oh, this isn't it. We have to go to, oh, this isn't it, quite a bit to know when it is it. If we can't tell the difference. And the same thing when you're going to a different job or you're meeting different people. A lot of people you might feel like, that's not the right match. And it doesn't have to be a romantic match. Just any type of match to spend time with more than an hour with a person. Like, nah, that's not it. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. But then you're with one person, you're like, oh yeah, this is it. Like I get set with this person all day. You know, I really enjoy their energy. That might shift after a while, but in the beginning, that's how you feel. And when you go and put yourselves in different places, different spaces, you're going to start to feel the difference. So don't be surprised if there comes a time when it's time to move. I don't care if you've been in that house for 30 years. When it's done, and you gotta move on, because nothing of the old really gets to come with us. And all those things we had pre-ascension, during our awakening process, and even during some phases of our ascension, eventually our vibration gets too big and the space isn't holding anymore. Think about it like this. If that space was the vibration to hold you when you were in your densest space, you couldn't have been in there. It would have been too aggravating to your body. So it was just going to support the vibration you were at, and perhaps to get you to a higher one. Now you were also there because you had contracts with the neighborhood, contracts with the neighbors, things you had to do there. And you might also start to see those things start to close out. People start moving. I noticed that in the home I had, and I had that home for like 10 years. A lot of people started moving. You just kind of feel like you're closing it out. People are going, it might be harder and harder to make the payments for whatever reason. And all of a sudden it's like, I feel like I don't need to be here anymore. And a lot of times we'll see it's like, oh, it was tough to make the payment there, but now I have to be in this place, and this is more expensive than the place I had before. But I know I have to be here, because now that that's a line where I have to be, you'll have the money to pay for that place. The universe doesn't start withholding money because, oh, you can't have the money come to you. It's like, it's showing you it's not aligned. Money gets our attention. Twin flame love stuff kind of will get our attention. Health gets our attention. Certain things get our attention. But if that old home could support your current vibration, you wouldn't have been able to have been in it in your older vibration. It would have been so agitating to your body, you couldn't have stayed in there. You're going to notice certain people will come to your home, they can't come in the door because the vibration of your home is so high to them because of just where they're at. And that's not a comparison of one's higher than the other. It's just their body can't handle it. Their body's not in a place to handle it. So if no one, somebody, I can always, when people don't want to come in the house, they don't want to come to my house, I just know the vibration is too much for them. They'll have a reason. You know, I have a cat, so they're allergic to the cat or this or that. Now, children, no problem, you know, running in the house because children just hold a higher vibration in general. They'll run right in, you know, and they have no issue with it. Animals too, they don't have an issue with it. But there will be some people that you might notice never want to come in. And they'll always have a reason, but their body knows it really can't handle it. It'll agitate them too much. They might only be able to also take it for a short period of time. They might come in your house for maybe 5 minutes and they got to go. And then you can also see the same thing when people are around you. They can't handle it for so long. If your vibration is really different from theirs, it starts to agitate them. Even if they don't know what's happening, they'll just want to go. You know, they'll just like, I got to go. I got to get out of here. Because you're going to start hitting, when you're at a higher vibration, it's kind of the same thing as when we're activating our own consciousness. And we have things of a higher vibration that start affecting us. It starts to start breaking down stuff that's not that vibration, and it has to come up to clear, whether it's emotions, sometimes physical stuff will start to come up because we have to clear the body. The emotions come up. We might all of a sudden be throwing up. We might be having a lot of lung stuff going on, or grief, or we might be having it from every end, so to speak, because our body's got to clear this stuff. So it's kind of the same thing. You're just now that activator in their field. So you're doing that. They don't have to read a book on consciousness. You're now just activating their field. And after a while, they can't take much more of that. Because you might find them people go away for years at a time because they now have to deal with everything that's been activated. And you might not see them for a long time. And then they might say, okay, now I can take that person again, in a sense. They might call you out of the blue. Because, hey, let's get together and let's spend some time together. Because now they can deal with that. There are some times, like for me, I don't even want to be in my house. I got to get outside because I'm trying to clear something and the vibration can be too high. For me, sometimes when I'm in that space, I don't want to be in here. I got to get out and go somewhere else. I'll just go for a walk. Even though vibration of nature's better, I feel better when I just take my body somewhere else because it can get you, especially when you're in different phases of your process. So just, pay attention to how you feel about your space. And I think I already said this, but I'm going to repeat it. You can always upgrade it in certain ways, but I do feel it does come to kind of that go point where there's only so much you can do because you can't move the whole thing. And there's other things in the field. There's neighbors. There might not be enough nature around. There might be, and also just nothing even to do with that whatsoever, though it technically always will have to do with a lot of different things. A billion things it has to do with. You just might have a contract to go somewhere else because you're going to then grid that area. Everywhere you put your body when you're at a higher vibration than the collectives around you, you're gridding that area for them. You're the anchor of that area. You hold that grid. That's why there's so many people all around the world now that are holding that grid in place for certain parts of the world. And then all of a sudden, there's enough people here holding the grid. Now I got to go hold the grid somewhere else. And my time is done here. So if your time is done there, don't fight the process. As someone who has fought the process, trust me, you don't want to do that. Let it go. Let it go. Open up to what's coming. Ask for the guidance. Say, send me where am I supposed to go next? So you can start preparing. Maybe you just feel like, hey, I'm supposed to start cleaning stuff out because I know in 6 months, 7 months, I'm going to leave. So let me just get ready. So I don't have to be running and doing everything at the last minute. Let me just get it all done now. So I'm ready when it's go time. So get ready for go time and keep practicing the art of intuition.